it's a fundamental issue. We have 1 billion children which are growing up. How are we to satisfy their needs when they see your lifestyles on flashed, even if they don't own a TV? They walk past a bar and they see a bit of your lifestyles and they see their lifestyles. And most of these 1 billion children are living on $1 a day. They see my lifestyle, they see a middle-class lifestyle. And it creates a demand. Can that demand be met? Can economic growth always be worshipped as the ideal? Those are huge questions, and I don't have the answers to those. All I know is this, that there are some people who think in terms of apocalypse and disaster. I'm not one of those. I do happen to think that there are some resources that are limited, but there's an awful lot that are relatively unlimited. Let's assume for a moment that we could, within the next 50 to 70 years, solve the energy problem profoundly and permanently. I'm not saying it would be free. It might be quite expensive, but we can solve it. Let's suppose, too, that we stop burning carbon and we start using it for chemicals and plastics and things like that. We just use carbon mainly to make things, and that we capture the things that we've made and we recycle them. If we were to do that, we would have an almost unlimited store of carbon for a long time. The other interesting thing is, if you do have free energy, you can convert energy into carbon. Why? Because you suck carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, you collect it. You don't even have to grow it from trees. You can collect it, and you can change carbon dioxide into oil, you can change it into coal-like substances, you can change it into gas, just from the gas in the air. And you might say, yes, it's expensive. Yeah, it is expensive using today's technology. So is the world going to be short of carbon? No. Solve the energy problem, and you have solved the carbon problem in the long term. What about things like aluminium? You know that there's an almost infinite source of aluminium. What about copper? Now there's a problem. You know that the proven copper reserves have hardly increased at all in the last 30 years. Isn't that correct? Maybe because we haven't bothered to look too hard, but if you think that every single year the number of the proven barrels of oil has gone up faster than the oil we've used. That's interesting. Copper, stationary. So copper we're short of. Copper could be a very prized commodity within the next 20 years because it is so fundamental to our electronics revolution. We might find ourselves having to use a lot more aluminium as a conductor rather than copper. That's an interesting scenario. But what about other commodities? Steel we got plenty of. We're not going to run out of iron ore. Are we going to run out of gold? Well, it could be in short supply, but we should be able to recycle it. Gold, copper, as I say, was a shortage. Aluminium, no. Cement, are we going to run out of cement? No way. Are we going to run out of sand? No. Are we going to run out of granite? I doubt it. So, water, yes. Huge water shortages, and nothing now to do about global warming. It's just the fact that we are short of water because we're so greedy at using water as we become more affluent. But you know what? Solve the energy problem, and we've solved the water problem. Why? Because you turn seawater into water. So you start to come back to the energy issue as fundamental to the sustainability question. Is there enough land to feed everyone? Oh, for sure. We know that there is. We could get double the yield out of the land that's already under cultivation. So we know we can feed people well. And if we had any problem with food, you know what we needed to do? Try and convert people to stop eating meat. Because meat is one of the most inefficient ways to use food and land whatsoever. Because so little of the grain that is given to an animal is turned into biomass. If you eat it directly, you save a huge chunk in the food chain. So food, I'm not sure we're short of. Energy, we could be sorted if we put our minds to it. Carbon, I think we could sort that one. Water, then gets sorted. Most of the other commodities, well, I think we'd find a way around. So could we actually have a world where most people in China could drive a car? Yes. Would it be burning carbon? No. Would it be burning hydrogen? Probably. Would the hydrogen be coming from coal? No. From nuclear? Yes. So it's possible. But we will have to find a much more a stronger international consensus about the way forward to achieve these things.